Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. How are you all doing today, folks? Have you got a wonderful weekend, or did you spend your weekend well enough? I know I definitely have. And also, just a quick mention, happy Martin Luther King Day. Let us never forget that Black lives do matter. But also, welcome to what is technically the first official episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast in 2024. Yes, after doing our big holiday break and after doing the top 5 animation news of 2023, now we can go and officially settle in to the new year and look into what's going to be the prospects of what this year or what will be to come in the future of animation and entertainment that will be in store for us. And let me tell you, for this episode in particular, oh boy, are things gonna be wild. What I have here will be a pretty eclectic collection of pretty crazy news stories in both animation and entertainment, and there will even be some on YouTube. Oh, by the way, thank you, Daniel, for that subscription right there, and yes, happy late birthday to you. And from there, we will be getting into a lot of these big discussions, a lot of craziness that will be in store, but I can guarantee you, we will all be having a good time over here. So, with all that said and done, I would now like to go into the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, are you ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it. Are you all prepared for this? Let's see now. Are people prepared? Yes. Yes. Oh, that is wonderful to see. All right. That is great. I see everyone is prepared. That is awesome. And now, with all that said, it is now time that we are going to go and get things started. And with our first story, before we get into a lot of the madness of today's episode, we're going to start things off with a little bit of an appetizer. There was a new trailer that came out, one that, well, technically it already had a trailer, so we're just going to be looking into the second trailer. And this is a relatively short one as well, considering that it is only about, like, what, 80 seconds long? But still, there is still a bunch of stuff in there that we should go and have a discussion about, especially when this movie is going to be coming pretty soon. So with that said, let us go and begin by talking about the second trailer for the upcoming DreamWorks animation movie, Orion and the Dark.
Orion, I'm gonna get you to overcome your fears if it kills me!
Orion and the Dark, only on Netflix, February 2nd.
And that is, well, I guess it's much shorter than I thought. Technically, it would be 70 seconds. But anyways, yes, that was Orion and the Dark, to which the movie shall be coming out on Netflix February 2nd. And may I just say, like, even though this was pretty quick and, yeah, we don't necessarily have an idea about what the story would be, because it feels like a lot of the focus is just on the more supernatural characters, specifically with Darkness himself, along with his ragtag crew that would be associated with anything that would be in the dark, whether it be like sleep or sweet dreams, insomnia, and all that kind of stuff. And may I just say, from the things that they have presented here, even though I don't necessarily got much of an idea of a movie into this, in fact, may I just say, I believe this is my first time talking about Orion and the Dark, or at least in terms of the trailers. I think I might have skipped out on the last trailer. I don't know, admittedly, my memory is a little bit fuzzy on that. Mainly because at that time, I remember there was like so much going on, especially when the actor strike is over. But from there, May I just say that what we have seen in this second trailer of Orion in the Dark, oh my god, is this adorable. Like, from the concepts that we have been introduced here, I honestly really do like them. And the first thing that I want to go and discuss what I really liked is actually what I just brought up, and that is the crew of Orion in the Dark, or, well, not necessarily Orion in the Dark, but I mean, where is it? Like, there's a good picture. Here, I'll go with right over here. It's just, like, the entire team of, like, Darkness and all of his friends. Honestly, I really like this idea. Because what we have here is kind of like this combination of Rise of the Guardians meets Inside Out, where we have this entire crew whose mission is to go and highlight what normally happens in the dark. And especially with how they carry the movie's moral about the positives of darkness, about, you know, it's not just in regards to overcoming your fear, especially your fear of the dark, but also showing like all the great things that could come from it. You know, like as I mentioned before, like the silence, or sweet dreams, or even sleep and stuff like that. Like they want to go and you know, like it's a major advocate for darkness, while also talking about how light can come into play, and like you know, like the big clash between light and darkness, but now both of them are completely personified. And in this case here, they're also showing darkness as the protagonist in here. I don't know if that will really be the case, if light will actually be an antagonist, will actually be the bad guy here. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But still, though, I really like the concept of what it's trying to do with the moral, but then especially, like, you got these characters. Like I mentioned, there's a little bit of this Inside Out vibe, not just with how they got, like, prominent colors that are displayed over here that are easily identifiable for each of these characters. Like, you got Sleep, who is full-on blue, you got Strange Noises, that's yellow, you got Insomnia, that's red, you got Sweet Dreams, that's like pink and purplish, and you got Silence, which is like this little mouse character that's all white. So you got all these characters that their style, like, it's a little bit more abstract. And in fact, like, you even look at Sweet Dreams, like, if you take a better look, there's something about them that also, they look like a Muppet. They have a bit of that Muppet style that's put onto them. Like, even the textures, they kind of look like they're made out of felt. Like, it doesn't look like a DreamWorks movie. It looks more like a Jim Henson movie, but it's all animated. But but yeah, this is just to say, like, the style is also very nice as well, in which they are going somewhere that's a little bit more abstract and something that would be a little bit more commonplace that you would find in an animated TV show, but still, it does look very nice, and it is well adapted onto computer animation, because that's often the challenge when it comes to taking these stylized designs and then bringing it to 3D, because not all 2D looks will translate well into 3D imagery. But in here, so far from what I've seen in this trailer, they are adapting it pretty well, and not to mention, especially the way that it looks like they're going to be playing a lot with effects, and that's going to be a major highlight, especially like when you see the characters just floating around, or not, for no pun intended, but I think one thing that will be massively highlighted will be the lighting, how it will be played around with, like, with the way that it will emphasize the use of darkness and light, and also how the characters will stand out in the darkness, or how they are in terms of light. There is also that aspect as well. So, like, there will be, like, this big play in terms of lighting, and I would even say even of colors as well, because already there's a whole bunch of things that we do see here. They are very, like, the use of colors, of course, it is very vibrant, but then again, this is from DreamWorks Animation, and they do have a prominent history of really going bold and often going all out with their light, with their colors, I mean. We have recently seen that, in fact, with last year's movies with Ruby Gillman, and I even throw in Trolls Band Together. So, from there, would I say that already from all this, is this going to be a great movie? I don't think I can 100% determine on just this alone, because it only introduces a bunch of concepts. But I will say this trailer does work in the sense that it is appealing in terms of the ideas that they are introducing. Like, they're showing these different concepts, and I feel like they do work. Like, I'm already feeling pretty engaged with seeing, like, these different characters and the idea about showing the positives of darkness, along with the cute little moral of conquering your fear, especially in terms of darkness. So from there, already, it looks like they're selling a lot in terms of the heart. They're already selling in terms of the concepts, and they're even selling a bit in terms of the animation. The one thing I will say is that it is kind of too bad that this is just going to be released on Netflix more so than the big screen, because I can imagine something like this, if you're going to put it out on the big screen, it would look absolutely beautiful. Oh, and by the way, thank you for the subscription there, Sonof Non 92. Just trying to understand the username, but hopefully I got it right. But yes, thank you for the subscription right there. But yeah, like, honestly, it does feel a bit too bad, but I do understand, like, last year, Ruby Gillman was just a massive bomb at the box office, and I mean, it's not necessarily just the movie's fault. There's also, like, Universal, who didn't do well in terms of the marketing. But still, it is kind of too bad. But, like, I can imagine something like this would just look fantastic on the big screen. But hey, like, at the very least, we are still getting it. And DreamWorks is not necessarily giving up on creating original content, and especially original movies. So, honestly, I will say that I am positively looking forward to Orion in the Dark. Maybe this will actually be a lot of fun. Maybe this is going to be the next DreamWorks favorite. Maybe it might not be. There is that chance that I could be wrong and it turns out to be a lot more generic than I could expect. But still, though, what they want to try to sell, especially from this trailer, I feel like it really does work out. And if you are excited for Orion in the Dark, if this really did work for you, then keep in mind that the movie shall be released on Netflix on February 2nd. All right, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, what do you all think about the Orion in the Dark trailer that we have just seen? Are you guys excited for the feature? Do you have your doubts? Let me know what you all think on this. All right, so let's see here. Well, I gotta admit, although it's a pretty short trailer, the movie looks pretty intriguing. The animation and art style looks really cute, the colors and world building looks lovely to look at, and the concepts and plot sounds pretty fascinating. I will keep my expectations a little low until I hear if the movie is actually good, but it'll most likely be fun. I'm pretty disappointed that it's only given a Netflix release instead of theaters, but if I got the chance, would be down to see it. All right, let's see. This trailer of Orion in the Dark was alright. I know I'll watch it on Netflix when it comes out, although I don't expect this to be super amazing, but the concepts, theme, and animation do look impressive. However, it'll be fun when it comes out. Also, with this and The Tiger's Apprentice coming out on the same day on February 2nd, how will you handle the review in terms of which one you will watch first? Don't you worry, because I may have a little trick up my sleeve. I'm just going to say now, I'm not going to go into details just yet, but there may be one that I might get an early screening for. So I cannot 100% confirm that, but I will have a plan for it. So just stay tuned for that, but don't worry, I am on it. All right, anyways, let's see, what else do we have? I was already sold on this film from the first trailer, but this trailer confirms it. This is going to be great. The concepts are really creative and fun, there's a really wholesome vibe to it, and the animation looks top-notch and, dare I say, has a bit of the stylization to it. It's going to be a great watch, but regarding darkness the darkness beings looking like Muppets, I guess with them and those Muppet beings from Trolls band together, DreamWorks is leaning into that style a lot. Yeah, that is actually true. Yeah, it's like suddenly, like you like even on this right over here, like you can see a little bit of that texture that they're really emphasizing, a bit of that like fur or felt like material. It's yeah, like suddenly DreamWorks animation is getting more and more inspired by the Muppets, and yeah, including those Trolls band together Dr. Seuss looking Muppet characters. They also count as that as well, so there is that factor. I don't know, but I mean, I am a huge fan of the Muppets, and if that were the case, that's definitely awesome that we're actually seeing some legitimate Muppet influence onto animation. Let's see what else we have here. Coming from the same writer as Anomalisa, Orion looks pretty unique. Although I do personally wish DreamWorks did some more adult animated features, not only for theaters, but also for Netflix. So yeah, I'll definitely check it out once it's on Netflix. Kind of weird I'm seeing a DreamWorks film on Netflix for the first time. Yeah, I know. That's why I personally feel like it's kind of a bittersweet thing. Because on one hand, seeing DreamWorks now just releasing their movies on Netflix, and it's not for a reason that's related to the pandemic, it kind of feels like DreamWorks Animation is going through a pretty disappointing downgrade. But then again, like I said before, that doesn't mean that DreamWorks Animation is going to be giving up on making original content, and they are still going to go and do it. And Orion in the Dark is actually a pretty solid example on that. So, I mean, like it's a give or take kind of situation. But I mean, hey, if this turns out great, maybe we will see like a brighter future for DreamWorks. And I mean, after what they recently went through, they might need it at least to like regain some stuff. But who knows? Like considering that they are going to be bringing out some big movies, like another Kung Fu Panda movie, they got this going on, and they got another Chris Sanders movie in the future, or at least in September. Like it looks like chances are the animated movies of DreamWorks Animation, they might fare better in terms of quality than the ones from last year. All right, let's see, what do we have here? This trailer looks pretty cute. The animation is outstanding. The characters seem likable, especially with Sweet Dreams, which I would simp for. And it actually does look like a combination of Rise of the Guardians and Inside Out or Soul. But would I say it's going to be a DreamWorks masterpiece? That I might doubt, but we'll have to wait and see. Also, how many do you think that Insomnia looks like a subconscious Squidward? But I mean, yeah, I do understand that there's not necessarily enough out there to fully determine if Orion in the Dark is actually going to be something that really is going to be a new fan favorite in the levels of what we've seen, like with The Bad Guys or with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. There could be that possibility, but who knows? I mean, from what they're showing, I'm getting the sense that Orion and the Dark could most likely be an enjoyable film than one that would be bad. Or at least I am hoping for, you know, like I want to be positive with this. I think I'll go and read one more comment before we get on to our first break. Just want to make sure I'm not reading something that I've already done before. Oh, I think it will be a nice start for 2024 animated films, especially for a DreamWorks film, and one I'll certainly check out on Netflix for the sake of it. However, since my local cinema sometimes shows Netflix movies at their venue on the big screen, I'll be down for it on in theaters. Aw, lucky you. I mean, that's actually a great thing. If you're able to go and check out Netflix movies on the big screen, like if you have like a local cinema or whatever that they would show something on Netflix, I highly encourage you to go and get the opportunity to do so. I actually do have a movie theater that like is a bit of a drive away from me, but it's not too far where it would take me an hour. But I know there are some movie theaters that are, or at least I know at least one movie theater around my area that does actually show some Netflix movies. So honestly, in that regard, if you can, please go and take it, because like those opportunities are very rare, like a streaming film, and then suddenly you'll get a chance to see it on the big screen. All right, so anyways, now we are going to go on to our first break, and when we do come back, then we are going to be talking about the main thing of this episode, the main story of it all, in which we will be looking into animation's biggest night. And oh boy, is it going to be more competitive than ever, so stay tuned for that. Alright folks, now for our next story, I figured, you know what, we might as well go and give this a little bit of a special introduction, because every year, that, like I said, this is considered one of the biggest nights in animation. And so, the time has come that we shall go and look into the 51st Annual Annie Awards. Yes, Asifa Hollywood has officially announced its list of nominations for this year's Annie Awards. And oh boy, what a fascinating list do we have over here. And one that really does stand out compared to many other years for some very surprising reasons. Now, I just want to go and state right now that I'm not going to be looking into each and every single category. I'm not going to go and discuss about each of them or make any form of predictions, because on Friday, I will become a guest at Paleosteno's live stream, where we together are going to be looking into the nominations, where we are going to be looking into each nominations, and then we are going to go and do our predictions. So just want to let you know on that, and also to let you know, please go and follow Paleosteno, not just for many of his fun-filled live streams, but also for that moment on Friday. But anyways, going back into the Annie Awards, what I will be doing, however, I will go and highlight the main ones. So I'm just going to go and list you down 5 of the big nominations. So let's go and begin by talking about which ones are nominated for Best Preschool TV and Media. And the nominees for those are The Creature Cases for the episode The Forest Food Bandit, Storybot's Answer Time for the episode Fractions, Playdate with Winnie the Pooh for the episode Piglet, Tigger, and the Cardboard Box, G Happy for the episode Navagraha, I think that's how you say it, and finally, Bat Wheels for the episode To the Batmobile. Then we got Best Children's TV and Media, in which the nominees for them for this are Shape Island for the episode 105B Square's Special Place. Square's Special Place. There we go. Thank you. Then next up we got My Dad the Bounty Hunter for the episode Bizarre Ride. Marvel's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur for the episode The Beyonder. Hilda for the episode Chapter 8, The Fairy Isle. And finally, Curses for the episode The Baboon Temple. And then we got Best Mature TV and Media. And the nominees for those are Tomato Kitchen, which is a special production. Scavenger's Reign for the episode The Signal. Bob's Burgers for the episode Amelia. Blue Eye Samurai for the episode, the pilot, by the way, Hammerscale. Then finally, Big Mouth for the episode The International Show. Now in terms of movies, the nominees for Best Independent Animated Feature are White Plastic Sky, The Inventor, Robot Dreams, Four Souls of Coyote, and finally, Ernest and Celestine, a trip to Gibberitia? Or to Gibberitia. Either way, I haven't seen the movie yet. I know I should, though. I heard it's fantastic. But then finally, we got Best Animated Feature. And the nominees for that are The Boy and the Heron, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, Suzume, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and finally, Nimona. And before I forget, by the way, we might as well go and quickly mention about the juried awards, because those also are pretty significant, and they have some recognizable names that are attached to it. So in terms of the jury awards, first off, we got the Winsor McKay Lifetime Achievement Award, to which this year they will be given to animation pioneer Charlotte Lott Reiniger, whom you may know as the creator of what is currently the oldest surviving animated feature in history, The Adventures of Prince Ahmed. Then you got legendary Studio Ghibli composer Joe Hisaishi. And finally, the National Film Board of Canada's animator and producer Marcy Page. Next up, for the June Foray Award for significant and benevolent excuse me for my Porky Pig mode here, for significant and benevolent or charitable impact will be presented to the Brick Foundation, which will be given to the co-founders Allison Mann and Nicole Hendricks. Then you also got the iWorks Awards, which is their Technical Achievement Award, which will be given to John Oxberry. And finally, the Special Achievement Award, in which this one will be given to the artists of Walt Disney Animation. And by the way, just a quick clarification, there is no confirmation to what specifically they're giving this for. Maybe it's for the 100th anniversary of Walt Disney Animation Studios. Maybe it's for Once Upon a Studio, but they didn't necessarily clarify that. We'll probably know more info by the time the Annie Awards actually does show up. And also, it is worth mentioning in regards to who is leading the pack in terms of the nominations. What are the projects that have gathered the most nominations this year? Well, surprisingly enough, it is none other than my personal favorite movie of the year, at least in terms of the movie categories. Yes, it is Nimona, whom this year managed to gather the most nominations with a total of 9. And then following afterwards, we got a 3-way tie for second place with a total of 7 nominations, which has been given to The Boy and the Heron, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and Suzume. And by the way, it is also worth noting that for both The Boy and the Heron and Suzume, they have managed to break the record for each of them, or at least they're sharing the record for the most nominations for a Japanese animated feature. And I will be talking more about that a little later. Then following afterwards, we got Elemental and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, each getting 6 nominations, followed by Robot Dreams receiving 5 nominations, and finally, Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget and Merry Little Batman earning 2 nominations each. And for the television and streaming categories, or for the TV and media categories, the one who has received the most nominations there is actually Blue Eye Samurai, earning a total of 7 nominations. Then followed by Star Wars Visions, earning 6 nominations. Then you got Kizaki Moto Generation Fire, earning 5. Then you got a tie between Marvel's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur and Scavenger's Reign, earning 4 nominations each. And then finally, Marvel's What If, earning 2. And that is the big gist in terms of all the nominations that we see here, or at least like in terms of the main ones for the Annie Awards. And may I just say, this is actually a very fascinating year, and especially one that is surprisingly competitive. Like, this is going to be a massive battle where you never know who's really going to be the big winner here, because right now, like, some people might say that, oh, there's obviously going to be one winner in this, and they're going to be sweeping it all like in many of the previous years. But considering last year, it was a massive surprise where the Annies have kind of got off of their bad habit of just giving their Annies to one specific movie to make it do a massive sweep. And like they would go and fairly distribute it to other movies as well, like with Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, The Bad Guys, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and a few others as well. Like we could be seeing that again this year, where this could be a case where now several movies are going to be walking away with an Annie, and along with several other TV shows as well, or series. Yeah, I know. I gotta stop saying TV show, because considering that streaming is becoming more popular, or has become like even more popular than television, I don't think we could call them TV shows. Like I need to get used to saying like theories or just shows and stuff like that. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. If there is one thing that I gotta say really does stand out this year, it's the fact that indies and international films are becoming a lot more of a dominant force, down to the point where now mainstream movies are having a run for their money. Like now, the other feature films that are not from the big Hollywood animation studios, they're really gaining up on them. Like now they're like gaining a lot more traction in order to go and get those big prizes. Or at the very least, now we have seen like they're dominating in terms of getting the nominations. And this is why it's a very significant thing to go and say that Suzume and the Boy and the Heron has broken the record for the most nominations for a Japanese animated movie. Like now they're becoming, or they are now as much of a powerhouse as Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse at the Annies. So much so that there is not just one, but like numerous of feature films that they didn't even get a single nomination, that they got opted out. Like, I know that there are a lot of articles out there that would go and put in their headlines that Wish got snubbed and that Wish did not receive a nomination this year. But keep in mind that Wish is not the only one. There are plenty of other mainstream animated features from major studios that didn't get a nomination as well. It's not just Wish. Like, if you do look into, like, the categories here, into each of them, there's also Trolls Band Together that didn't get a single nomination. And then there's also Under the Boardwalk. There's also Paw Patrol, the Mighty Movie. There's also The Monkey King, The Magician's Elephant, and even The Miraculous Ladybug Movie, all of which received 0 nominations whatsoever. And this is not even to mention that there are also a handful of animated movies in which they only got 1 nomination, and that they're very lucky that they would get that 1 nomination and that's it. And these include the Super Mario Brothers movie, Migration, Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, and Leo. And I'll even throw in Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget, that only received 2 nominations. And I know technically there would be Merry Little Batman as well, but I will say for an Amazon movie, that's kind of a big surprise, and I think that's like a major achievement for that movie in particular. But still though, like a lot of these major movies all got sidelined in favor of those international films and for those indie films, or in this case, just one indie movie with Robot Dreams. And even when you do look into the categories, into each of them, you'll see that in almost every single one, like, you will find, like, either Suzume, The Boy and the Heron, or Robot Dreams dominating it, or even, like, would take over all. Like, for example, like, even in or this one, like Best Writing, like it's being taken over by Robot Dreams, Suzume, and The Boy and the Heron. And then next up, you got Best Voice Acting, where Suzume found itself in there. Best Storyboarding, where you got Robot Dreams, Suzume, and The Boy and the Heron. And then you also got Best Production Design, where The Boy and the Heron is there. Or even in Best Music, where you got Suzume and The Boy and the Heron. Like, or even like right over here, Best Directing, Robot Dreams, and The Boy and the Heron. Like, those 3 movies are taking up so much space. Or even, like, even Best Character Design, Robot Dreams is in here. Like, so, or even Best Character Animation, where you got Suzume, The Boy and the Heron. Like, these indie films are taking up so much, like, I know I'm repeating this, but, like, they are dominating in so many of these categories that right now, they're pretty much dominating, and there is a very strong chance that we could see them actually take those awards as well. Like, I honestly feel like it's going to be pretty doubtful if any of these movies, like with Elemental or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, would even walk away with one. If they do so, they would be extremely lucky. And honestly, it even raises questions in regards to, like, even the bigger players like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and Nimona. Chances are maybe they'll walk away with one or two, but don't expect that they're going to go and walk off with like a whole bunch, or they're going to walk off as a big winner. Or another major thing that is also worth talking about is actually the best animated feature category. Now, a lot of people would go and highlight that this is the first time in several years that neither Disney nor Pixar can actually be found in the best feature category. But then again, you could go and argue that many of the big players in animation are not there as well. It's not just Disney and Pixar, but it's also DreamWorks Animation and Aardman Animation who are not found here. Like, you don't see either Ruby Gillman, Trolls Band Together, or Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget actually be featured in the best animated feature category. And especially like with The Boy and the Heron and Suzume, like you would think those would be the kind that, considering that they are distributed by G Kids, that they would be found in the best independent feature category. But no, in this case here, like, they performed so big, and especially how critically acclaimed that they have become. No, like they would have to be like placed in the competition with the big boys, with the big animation studios, and they've managed to go and like outperform every single one of them. And that's the key factor to really go and highlight. Again, this is not just about Disney and Wish not getting any form of nominations. And besides, like, with Disney, they are still getting like an automatic win with that Special Achievement Award. And, you know, like they're still going to be walking off with something. So it's not going to be a tremendous loss for Disney at this year's Annie Awards. And not to mention that, like, they still technically do have Elemental that got 6 nominations. So, like, that is still something right there. But still, though, like, it does also highlight how the other studios are also underperforming, like, about as much as Disney. Like, you got DreamWorks Animation, whom they released 2 animated films in 2023, and they got lucky to even get just 1 nomination with Ruby Gillman. And that's it. And I'd even throw in Netflix onto this. Like, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, technically Netflix is dominating with Nimona, but that's not what I mean. With Nimona, like, yeah, Netflix did put it out there, but they're only the distributors. They're not the ones who actually made the movie. It was even highlighted on the Annie Awards website, where it says here that it is from Annapurna Animation for Netflix. So it's more Annapurna's movie, more so than it is Netflix. And in terms of the ones that Netflix actually did produce, and they actually did produce a whole bunch, including The Magician's Elephant, The Monkey King, and Leo, the only nomination that they got is just 1 for Leo, and that is it. So it's and I'd even throw in Illumination. I know, like, Illumination is not often a big player in the Annie Awards, but like them as well, considering that they did put out both Migration and the Super Mario Brothers movie, they didn't get all that much nominations as well. In fact, the only ones that they've gotten is actually for best voice acting. Where is it? It's like right over here. Yeah, like you got best voice acting for Jack Black playing the role of Bowser, and also for Tressie Gazelle for playing as Gwen in Migration. So so keep in mind, like a lot of people are going to go and highlight that Disney got massively snubbed this year for the clicks, but it's not just them. It's many other studios as well, because, well, now the others are dominating. Like, now, like, who is going to become a dominant force is not going to be from the major studios. It's going to be those outside of that, including the Japanese studios and the indie films as well, which is what we have seen with Robot Dreams, Suzume, and The Boy and the Heron. And that is why I feel like if we're going to talk about who I think is going to be the big winner this year, I think it's going to be like with most of the accolades, and I think The Boy and the Heron is going to be the big winner. Like, I know there's going to be a lot of people who will go and root for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and I know a lot of people will also bring up that just yesterday or the day before I am recording this, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse did manage to win the Critics' Choice Award for Best Animated Feature. But I would argue that in the case of the Annie Awards, I feel like the signs are going to be leaning more towards The Boy and the Heron. I think they're going to go and give them the most awards. I'm not saying that everything will go to The Boy and the Heron. Like, I can imagine there will be some that will walk away with an Annie or two, like I said. I am thinking maybe films like Nimona and Across the Spider-Verse, they will get, they will get a few wins. They will get a few Annies, like one or two. But the big winner will be The Boy and the Heron. And my biggest proof of that is actually going to be in the best writing category. Like, if we go down right over here, I want you to go and notice in the best writing category for a film, Across the Spider-Verse is not nominated. You'll notice, like, it's Nimona, Robot Dreams, Suzume, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, and The Boy and the Heron, which I will say, that right there is quite a shock. But I'm not saying that, you need to go and win Best Writing if you want to get Best Animated Feature at the Annies. That is not the case at all. There are plenty of examples of those whom they didn't win Best Writing, but they still got Best Animated Feature. But the fact alone that Spider-Verse didn't even get a nomination for Best Writing, which honestly might be a bit of a bittersweet thing, by the way. On one hand, it is shocking because the writing in there is incredible. But then again, I do completely understand, considering that it is Phil Lord and Chris Miller who wrote this, and considering what was recently reported about them, I think it's a great idea not to go and to enable people who abuse their animators when working on animated features. So at least there is that kind of positive. But going back into this, considering that Spider-Verse didn't get nominated to a key category with Best Writing, I think that's going to be a big tell that they're really going to go and celebrate Hayao Miyazaki's achievement with The Boy and the Heron. And I think that is going to be the big winner this year. And in terms of Best TV and Media, honestly, I really don't know. Maybe it's going to, it'll probably be a toss-up that we're going to see, a variety of different winners. Like, maybe we will see Blue Eye Samurai getting a bunch of wins, and maybe Star Wars Visions will also get a few wins as well, but that's just my prediction as well. So yeah, that's basically the big thing that I want to highlight. I know it's a lot to go and talk about with this, but yeah, this is pretty big. So I just want to say congratulations to all the nominees at this year's Annie Awards, and best of luck to everyone when the Annie Awards will commence on February 17th. And with that, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, what do you all think about this year's Annie Awards? What are your opinions? Who do you think are going to be the big winners? Who do you think got snubbed in this? Let me know what you all think. All right. I'm really happy about a lot of these nominations. I will admit I'm a bit disappointed that Wish didn't get any nominations, but I am happy with the Best Animated Feature. I'm rooting for either The Boy and the Heron, Nimona, or Spider-Verse, although I think it will be a mystery of who will win, considering The Boy and the Heron won the Golden Globes, and Spider-Verse won the Critics' Choice. Again, I'm on the side that I feel like The Boy and the Heron is going to be more the winner, and I'll just say right now, I do agree that there is a part of me that is a bit disappointed that Wish didn't get a single nomination in any of them. It deserved at least one, at least, maybe not for Best Animated Feature, but at least in some of the smaller ones, at least give it Best Storyboarding or Best Editing or Best Production Design. There are still some, there are still some things within Wish that is worth recognition, at least in terms of the Annies, especially with its animation. Honestly, I feel like the animation is actually pretty great. Not the best that Disney has done, but definitely ambitious, and what it did right, it did so very beautifully. Let's see what we got here. This is a fantastic lineup for Best Feature, though to be honest, I'm a little surprised Elemental didn't get a nod. I'm glad it got a few nominations, but still. As for the others, I'm glad Jack Black got technically 2 nominations for both Mario and video games. I love all the attention The Boy and the Heron is getting, and I'm really shocked Wish didn't get anything. I would make a joke about Nimona sweeping while Wish got snubbed, but still, not even music? That's a shocker and a half there. Well, I mean, don't you worry, because I'm pretty sure that most everyone else has already done that joke to absolute death. But yeah, and that's another one that should have been nominated. Like, why not Best Music? Like, I get, like, who else got nominated for Best Music? Just want to go and, double check in here. Where would that be? Yeah, Best Music. Like, okay, there's a lot of these that I kind of do understand, like with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and The Boy and the Heron. Like, yeah, I get it. But honestly, yeah, like, that's another one where Wish could have fit pretty well in there, honestly. Like, I don't know, like, maybe swap out, like, Mutant Mayhem, maybe? I'm not too fond of that soundtrack. But still, like, yeah, it is a bit, again, like, I understand the shock that it should, like, it didn't get nominated, but, like, let's be honest, it should have earned at least one. Let's see. Yeah, I'm personally rooting for The Boy and the Heron to win this year. I did enjoy this year's animated features, but yeah, I do hope The Boy and the Heron takes the big prize. Also, my friend's short film she co-produced was also nominated for one of the music categories. The short film is called Pacemaker, by the way. Check it out. It is very bittersweet. Major congrats to the nominees and good luck to all of you. All right, very nice. And yeah, well, honestly, I will admit, like, I know The Boy and the Heron is going to win. Like, yeah, and I mean, it definitely does deserve a lot of the wins that it got. But admittedly, there is still a part of me that really wants to see Nimona win. I mean, I'm sorry, I absolutely adore that movie. And I mean, honestly, like, I'll still be happy that The Boy and the Heron would win because, like, it is a fantastic movie. But I mean, I'm sorry, but I love Nimona so much. And there's still a part of me that is rooting that maybe Nimona will find a way to even break through The Boy and the Heron to get those wins. I don't know, maybe it's just the fanboy side of me just asking for that, but yeah, honestly, I'll be rooting for, I mean, like, these are all fantastic movies, and honestly, I'll be happy for whoever is going to win in this case. Let's see now. My thoughts on the nominations for the Annie Awards. My top 5 favorite animated films made the best feature list. It is good to see Nimona getting at least some recognition, as I find it underrated this year. Disney and Pixar were shut out of the best feature film category for the first time. Not the first time ever, but still. No nominations for one of the cast members for Spider-Verse for voice acting. Finally, happy that Blue Eye Samurai got some nominations. I still think Spider-Verse will win due to editing nomination safe. Yeah, I will say though, there is one that I feel like is a massive snub, and I know there might be some technicalities on this, but I feel like it is a big snub for not nominating Robert Pattinson's performance as the Great Heron in The Boy and the Heron. Like, I know technically it is an English dub and it doesn't necessarily count. In fact, when you do go back into the best voice acting category, you will see one of them is actually from Suzume, and it is technically from the original Japanese version, which is Hokuto Matsumura, that is nominated. So in that, but still though, I find that the best voiceover performance is actually from Robert Pattinson. If not him, then honestly, screw it. Let's go and give it to Chloe Grace Moretz. I mean, like, again, she's phenomenal as Nimona, so let's go and give it to her. All right, I think I'll just read one more comment before we move on to the next one. Let's see, I'll go and read this quick. Congrats to all the nominees at the Annie Awards. It's honestly surprising how the indie animated movies are kind of dominating the nominations, and how Suzume and Boy and the Heron got so much nominees as Across the Spider-Verse. This is going to be a really competitive season for animated films, and who I think is going to be the big winner is either The Boy and the Heron, Nimona, or Spider-Verse. Either way, good luck to all the animated movies and shows that got nominated. Alright, so with that said, let's go on to our next break. And when we do come back, let's just say that the tone is going to switch, and I'm going to be pretty upset at the next story, especially when we will be having an AI talk. So stay tuned for that one. All right, so on our next story, we're going to go into some news that, yeah, it will include a trigger warning because this is not good news whatsoever. In fact, when I heard about this, I was in the mood of like, are you freaking serious? And I know there have been a few that have been announced and a few news in which I was like that. First off, like just a big honorable mention that there was the news in relation to Pixar that they are planning later in the year that they're going to do a whole bunch of layoffs. And they said that apparently this might have to do with scaling down in terms of Disney Plus content and getting rid of animators that they don't necessarily need anymore. And it could also play into the factor in terms of, like, rumors are spreading around that maybe they're reconsidering about how much are they going to put in terms of the budget. That is a bit frustrating to hear that there are going to be animators who will be losing their jobs. But again, I'm not going to go and immediately talk about it because there is no confirmation as to how many animators are going to be laid off from Pixar. But what I will be talking about, though, is something that I find to be a little more personal. It's a subject in relation to AI. And I know that all of you watching and listening, or hopefully all of you watching or listening, are not fans of AI. And in this case here, I felt like I was betrayed. Especially when this is a company that I thought is on our side, you know, helping out the people. But no, as it turns out, it is none other than SAG-AFTRA that's going to be enabling AI. Yes, you heard it right. I said SAG-AFTRA. And the news that came out is that apparently at this year's big event at CES, which is the Consumer Electronics Expo, in which a lot of companies would go and show off a lot of the major tech that they have coming soon. Apparently, there is one company called Replica Studios who have revealed that they are teaming up with the Screen Actors Guild - American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, aka SAG-AFTRA, that they are going to go and have a system that is built for union actors who want to enter into the realm of AI. Now, to go into specifics onto this, I'm going to go and read you here from my source on the official website of SAG-AFTRA, to which it states over here, this new agreement paves the way for professional voiceover artists to safely explore new employment opportunities for their digital voice replicas with industry-leading protections tailored to AI technology, allowing AAA video game studios and other companies working with Replica to access top SAG-AFTRA talent. The agreement between the leading AI voice company and the world's largest performers union will enable Replica to engage SAG-AFTRA members under a fair, ethical agreement to safely create and license a digital replica of their voice. Licensed voice can be used in video game development and other interactive media projects from pre-production to final release. So basically, the big thing from all this is that now they have built a system in which voice actors can now put their voice onto this system, and then mainly video game companies are going to come in and they'll see that the voice is available and they'll go and use that for their video games or for whatever projects that they want to go and use. And may I just say that I am shocked that this is coming from SAG-AFTRA, that they would go and actually approve of this. Like, am I crazy in this entire scenario? Am I the one that feels like is going insane? Because I personally feel like, is this not the reason why that actors went on to strike? Isn't this like a big part of it that they don't want, you know, to go and make a big statement that they're not going to be replaced by AI? And then, lo and behold, here comes SAG-AFTRA, where they decided to make a deal with a company in order to build a system where AI will be replacing voice actors. This is absolutely ridiculous. And it's just something that I look at this and I wonder, like, what the fridge am I fighting for? Like, okay, I just want to go and state right now, I am not yet a SAG-AFTRA member, okay? I'm not part of that union. I am part of the Canadian acting union, ACTRA, but not yet on SAG-AFTRA. Although, like, I do wish to go and be a member to go and open up on some major opportunities. And you probably do recall last year, I've done all I can to go and comply and to want to show my support to the strike for both actors and for writers. And you probably do recall, like, for several months that I would have, like, a special little message to go and say, donate to this website to go and show your support to actors and writers on strike. And even on this podcast, that I would go and make a sacrifice where I had to hold talking about trailers because that would be considered promoting striking content. And they did put out a warning that they're going to ban influencers from joining the union if they would go and, if they would break the rules or cross picket lines and go and indirectly promote, like, movies and TV shows that are affected by the strike. So I tried to do everything I can on my part, and then lo and behold, SAG-AFTRA decided to go and screw over voice actors with this entire thing right here. Now, I'm just going to go and say, I'm not necessarily a big fan of the villain song in Wish, but I honestly feel like King Magnifico in this situation. You know, I honestly feel like I put on hold the trailer. No, that's not what I meant. Not the trailer. Like, I put it on hold for later when talking about some trailers, and I showed my fans how to go and support the strike. And this is the thanks I get! You know, I feel exactly like that. It's just ridiculous. And by the way, I just want to go and make a clarification because I know there are a lot of people out there who are defending SAG-AFTRA in this, and that they are saying that this is actually something that is actually good for actors, especially when they did mention that a big part of this is that the actors will have 100% control in terms of the consent in this situation. And this is actually mentioned over here, in which it says, approved by affected members of the union's voiceover performer community, this contract marks as an important step forward towards the ethical use of AI voices in creative projects by game developers and set the basis for fair and equitable employment of voice actors as they explore the new revenue opportunities provided by AI. In addition to establishing minimum terms and conditions, the agreement ensures performers' consent and negotiations for uses of their digital voice double and requires that performers have the opportunity to opt out of its continued use in new works. Okay, there are 3 problems that I do have here. I originally thought about 2, but there is also 1 extra that I just thought about. Okay, so number 1 problem that I have is in terms of revenue. Now, I know that in terms of the new contract that SAG-AFTRA has done with the AMPTP, they would go and actually address in terms of what happens if an AI replica is being used of that actor. Now, they did address that in terms of compensation, yes, it will be like any other form of work where the actor will be receiving pay as if they have done like a legitimate day's work on that set, and they will be receiving residuals and royalties for that. So they did address that. But here's the big problem. This is not for TV and movies. That thing that they've addressed, like that is only with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, just for any shows and for any movies. This does not apply to video games. In fact, I don't think there's any revenue that can be found in terms of gaming. So in that regard, they're already being screwed over in terms of payment right over there. So that's already a massive problem. And number 2, now the second problem that I do have, and this is one that I just thought of, is in regards to what kind of project that they would be in. Like, okay, I know they did technically say that, like, okay, well, if you could opt out in terms of any of the new works, but they didn't say anything in terms of, like, whatever works that they would go in. Like, okay, you'll have your voice in there, but you don't have a say in terms of what projects will suddenly end up becoming in there, you know? You don't know what's going to happen. Like, okay, I'll just go and provide my voice. Like, I'll go and give permission to have my voice be turned into AI in Replica Studios. But you never know if there's like some kind of lunatic who decided to go and use that voice so they could go and put that onto like this very messed up and very unethical game. Like, they're going to go and create like school shooting simulator where you get to play the gunman. And like, they'll suddenly use my AI voice as the gunman. Like, I would not approve of that whatsoever. And that is beyond my control. And that could actually be something that could actually ruin whoever's AI voice will be implemented. So that's already a massive problem where they do address that, yes, you can have control of having your voice be featured in there, but I don't think that they have anything in terms of agreeing upon what your voice can be used for whatever project would actually be featured. Now, that one I will admit, maybe I'm wrong on that, but still, there is like, that is a massive red flag that needs to be addressed. But then there is the one crucial thing. I know for a fact that this is a massive problem, and this is the biggest issue with what SAG-AFTRA is doing right over here. And that is in regards to the fact that this is still stealing jobs. This still highlights the biggest problem with AI and a big part to why the actors went on strike in the first place. This is going to be something in which we know for a fact that people are just going to be, that there are going to be companies that they would rather to use those AI voices instead of actually hiring actors. And that's going to be a massive problem. And especially, there's actually one phrase that they did put out there that already feels like this entire situation is going to be broken into pieces. And it's actually, where is it? I think it is this one. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's this right over here, this phrase, like in which the AI technology will allow AAA video game studios and other companies working with Replica to access top SAG-AFTRA talent. Now, let me tell you, if those top talents actually do put their voices in Replica and become AI, this is going to screw over many lesser known talents, and it's going to screw over many actors who need those jobs. Like, let's go and put up this hypothetical. Like, let's say, for example, you get someone like Ryan Gosling, who decided he will put his voice onto Replica, and he decided he'll have like an AI voice that he could go and have so that other people can go and hire that voice to be used in their video games or whatever. Now, the fact that it is Ryan Gosling's voice, that's going to be massively appealing for big companies and stuff like that. That not only would they be able to use his AI voice, but also they can go and add onto their credits and onto the marketing that, hey, we got Ryan Gosling's voice on our project. Go play our game. And from there, that's going to ruin so many opportunities for potential actors who sound like Ryan Gosling and can most likely provide a better performance than that Ryan Gosling AI voice. But they can't, because the companies would rather go and directly use Ryan Gosling's voice, because chances are, hey, it's much easier and much cheaper and definitely better to go and work with to allow the voice to go and do whatever they want. So this, overall, I feel like this is such a highly unethical, like this is such an unethical news coming from SAG-AFTRA right there. And personally, I feel betrayed. As a professional actor myself, I just feel like what SAG-AFTRA is doing, it feels like a massive betrayal of what people fought for during the strike. We emphasize that we do not want to be replaced by AI, and now SAG-AFTRA is coming in to say, oh, well, we still want to use AI. Here's a chance for actors to be replaced by AI. And that's literally what's going on. You're enabling the technology to go and take away people's jobs. That's the thing that I am massively upset about. And for what? And like, for what? Just because like, oh, this could be like new financial opportunities? No, not even. Like, I can guarantee you, like, in a few years' time, there's a very high chance that you're gonna see AI go in the way of stuff like crypto and NFTs and stuff like that. Like, once it's been proven that it's not really that profitable, like, it's really gonna drop the ball on that one, and all this is gonna do is just ruin your reputation. It's honestly absolutely ridiculous, and the sooner that SAG-AFTRA can drop this, I feel like it's gonna be the better. Honestly, I don't care what it is, I don't care what the intent it is, and I don't care whatever little update that you may have on your contract that, okay, well, maybe with AI, you can have like you can have a little little extra residuals. No. We do not want to be replaced by AI. We do not want AI actors, period. I mean, it's already enough that I have to go and say no to some auditions where I would be asked to come in and do some recordings for some AI project. Yes, this has actually happened to me more than once, by the way, a few times, in which I would get either my agent or I would get casting agencies ask me to go and possibly work for them or do some kind of an audition for an AI project where they would go and turn my voice into AI, on top of the fact that it would be like a full buyout, that I wouldn't get any residuals or anything like that. It's just one payment and the voice would be completely theirs to do whatever they want. And I'm sorry, but no, I do not want that whatsoever. I make that clear that I will not, nor never will be replaced by AI. So I'm sorry for that rant or that tangent, but I'm sorry. Like, this really does upset me. And as an actor myself, I feel like this really goes completely against what we're trying to say with the strike, you know? Like this is just ridiculous. And especially, this is something that would be affecting voice actors especially. It's just, I feel like it's a betrayal. That's really what it is. And I mean, this feels like something that, for me, it feels personal, especially with the fact that this is something that is targeting voice actors, which already, let me just say that with voice actors, they're already getting a whole lot less respect than on-camera actors. And like, we are definitely, like, I would argue that we are the most vulnerable in terms of AI technology. So from there, like, this is just this just feels like enabling technology that's going to be ruining careers for voice actors. So that's why I feel like I'm just like, you know, that's why, like, I feel passionately upset about all this. All right. So anyways, with that said, I would now like to go and pass this on to the chat wall. And I'd like to ask you all, how do you personally feel about this news? What do you all think about the SAG-AFTRA AI news? I just want to know, what are your thoughts on this? I know I already expressed mine on this whole thing. All right, let's see now. So SAG-AFTRA seems to only care about live action actors. Video game voice acting doesn't count. Screw you for video game voice acting. Honestly, I think SAG-AFTRA should find a way to cancel the deal, because if they screw over video game voice actors with AI, then who knows what kind of loophole abuses for other voice actors and live action actors. I hope SAG-AFTRA figures out a way to end the deal, because it will not end well for the future of actors old and new. Exactly. Like, this is something that I feel like is a massive concern, and I feel like could be a legitimate worst case scenario. Like, it'll start out in video games, but then if they think that things will go well for video games with AI voices, like, they could probably go and do the same thing for animated movies. They'll do the same thing for animated shows and for documentaries and for other forms of voice acting. Like, like, what you're doing is that you're starting a very dangerous domino effect that could endanger the career of all voice actors in general. And the fact that you're starting off with this and getting the approval from, like, a highly reputable from the union meant to represent actors, from there, it's like, this could lead to an absolute disaster. Let's see what we got here. To anyone in SAG-AFTRA that supports this god-awful idea that should never exist in the first place, what are you doing? We rooted for you guys to save your jobs and career, but this kind of crap is really breaking my heart. SAG-AFTRA needs to reconsider this decision ASAP, or else they will suffer the consequences. AI needs to stay away from the film industry. Also off topic, F you, Jeffrey Katzenberg, for his AI statement. Yeah, although then again, like, I know Jeffrey Katzenberg made a statement about, like, how AI could reduce the workforce in an animation studio by 90%. But then again, I don't know if we could take any of his opinions seriously. Like, should we honestly listen to the guy who created what could objectively be the worst streaming services of all time? Honestly, I even forgot what the fridge that name was, but I know that it was Jeffrey Katzenberg's streaming service, and it barely even survived like a month or two. Alright, moving right along. I know it might be seen as a red flag for this, but oh my god, please, enough with the people are even bringing up Queeby. Yeah, that's the thing! Freaking Queeby. Yeah, let the Queeby guy talk about the prospects of freaking AI. No, you know what? Let Jeffrey Katzenberg handle AI. It'll go as well as Queeby. But anyways, I know it might be seen as a red flag for this, but oh my god, just please, enough with the AI ranting. What? Can we please finally move past this? I understand you are all scared, but I am sick and tired of this rubbish, and to be honest, I see it as no different but about ranting about computer animation at this point. I understand and know the importance of people having their works and jobs, and DreamWorks and jobs, and I know that computer animation and AI are two different and separate concepts, and, well, the comment just stops there. Well, I mean, keep in mind, I'm also an actor myself. This is a subject matter that honestly feels like a little bit personal, and that they're entering into my territory. So that's why I just needed to go and talk about it and go onto this rant. But anyways, wait, didn't we just have a strike about this? I feel like we just had a strike about this. You know, the same strike that essentially said maybe using AI to replace voice actors is a bad thing. That strike? What's the point of striking if CEOs aren't gonna upload their end of the deal? It just makes the progress of those actors put it totally pointless. Overall, if SAG-AFTRA goes through with this, I'm likely going to be pointing at them and shouting, "Give it up for F's sake, give it up for F-face, everyone." Okay, yeah, no, but I definitely do get what you mean there. Let's see. This is so disappointing to see that SAG-AFTRA will lean towards AI in terms of voice acting. This SAG strike was supposed to be against the use of AI and not being used in media, but this is just disgusting. No one wants to be replaced with AI, and they went against everything they stand for you. I'm sorry that you had to deal with upon being asked to be used for AI. Yeah, I mean, like, I know those aren't, like, they weren't the first times that I've been asked, and I'm sure it won't be the last time as well. But yeah, like, one thing to keep in mind that when it comes to the SAG-AFTRA strike, like, that wasn't just for, like, the big name actors. It was for all actors, especially for the smaller actors who are trying to make a living out of acting, out of their passion. And this entire news about AI voice acting, like, that's the thing that's going to be affected the most. It's not the prominent voice actors, but the up and coming ones. Like, this is just going to be a gatekeep from any and all other voice actors to actually make it into the industry. And that's the thing that really makes it very frustrating. And I feel like that is something that needs to be said and that it needs to be called out. All right, this honestly makes me angry and feel disgusting. The fact that after everything that happened with the strike, SAG-AFTRA basically stabbed the actors in the back is just insulting and it's just awful. Seriously, it's ridiculous. And I think it's because I think Fran Drescher is not going to be reelected as leader of SAG-AFTRA because of this and controversial rules during the strike. Yeah, I mean, we will wait and see on that, but like, even though I am in full support of the strike when it did happen, I am totally on the side of the actors, and I do understand why the strike was done. I do also feel like the way it was handled and some rules really did go a little bit too far. And then suddenly we see something like this going completely 180. Nah, I'm just not in approval of this whatsoever. All right, I think I'll read one more comment before we go on to our next break. Let's see now. I am utterly disappointed that we've been lied to. This news made me feel betrayed, even though I'm not an actor. I thought that SAG-AFTRA was on our side after the strike ended, but apparently the company had other plans for actors. Seriously, why would SAG-AFTRA do this? And video games? Oh god, no. Please don't do this to me. As a gamer, I feel bad for the actors and what SAG-AFTRA is doing right now. And to quote the rednecks in South Park, they took her germs! Scared the dirt! Alright, so with that said, we're gonna go on to our next break, and then we're gonna go into some insanity. There's a recent controversy that is in relation to YouTube and drama, and I must warn you, the more we dive into this, the more insane it is, so brace yourselves after this break. Alright, welcome back, folks. Now, on our next story, I just want to go and put out a warning that what we will be discussing, it will dive into some heavy and a bit of serious subject matter, so this will not be for sensitive viewers out there, but still, though, this story that I have over here, like, again, keep in mind that a lot of this is still pretty fresh, and we don't necessarily, as I am recording this right now, we don't necessarily have all the answers in regards to what actually happened or some of the facts in terms of the allegations. So for a lot of this, keep in mind, like, take some of the info that I will be saying with a grain of salt. But still, though, even in terms of the facts that we do know about this, oh boy, strap yourselves in, because really, this really does define the craziness with a mix of cartoons. So, with that said, let us dive into the Verbalase drama. Now, before I begin, let me just go and make a clarification about who Verbalase is. For those of you who don't know, Verbalase is actually a very popular YouTuber who specializes in beatboxing and music. And often in his channel, he would go and make beatboxing videos, rap music, and he would even make some music videos. But especially, a lot of the times, he would go and mix in popular characters and some popular music as well. In fact, one of his most popular shows on his YouTube channel, Verbalase, is actually Cartoon Beatbox Battle, where it has a similar concept to Death Battle, but instead of fighting to the finish, they would go and actually have this rap beatbox battle where you take like two different cartoon characters and, like, you know, they would rap out their differences and stuff like that. But now that you have a bit of an understanding of who Verbalase is, let's get into the story of what actually happened. So, in connection with the new release of the Hazbin Hotel series, which I believe is officially out now on Amazon Prime, or it's gonna be coming out soon. But anyways, Verbalase decided to go and make like a bit of a tie-in, not an official tie-in, but, you know, to do something in connection with Hazbin Hotel, considering that chances are with the release of that series, it'll be like the subject will be massively popular. And he decided to go and create a music video based on the song Hideaway. And he even hired an animator to go and create this, like this 3-minute music video. And the story that happened in there, oh dear, oh boy, is it crazy? So apparently the story, like the little narrative that happens while the song Hideaway plays, is that the YouTuber Verbalase himself is suddenly transported into the Hazbin Hotel hell. And I don't know what it is with Verbalase, but apparently there's something about him that it makes Charlie Morningstar go on serious heat. And from there, she would just pursue to chase Verbalase, Pepe Le Pew's star, just like filled with love and lust in her eyes, until eventually you actually do see Verbalase tied up to her bed, and then we see Charlie coming in, lock the doors, lock everything, make sure no one comes in which she would go and jump onto Verbalase and perform some, how can I put this, non-consensual activities? So, yeah, that's the thing. It's literally an animated music video in which Verbalase gets sexually assaulted by Charlie Morningstar. I wish I was making that up. And if you don't believe me, I know it sounds insane, but I know it is true that you cannot find this on YouTube. Like, it is nowhere to be found, the official video. But it has been saved by users, and at least some clips of it have been shared around where they would go and, make some memes out of it. And I actually do have one just to show you an example of what I am talking about. It's right over here. So let's just go and quickly watch this.
Under your spell,
hold on, sorry. Here, let me just redo that. I don't know what the fridge popped out right there. So here, let's have a quick reset on that.
Don't let your kids watch it!
Thank you so much, Robbie Rotten, because, holy crap. Okay, no, that's enough. No, we don't need to see that again. Yeah, what? You see what I'm talking about? I'm not making that crap up. I wish I was making that up. But, oh, Lord. Oh, my God. If you thought that was crazy, hold on a sec, folks. This is just the facts, okay? This is what we actually do know that it is true. Because the more we do get into it, the more insane it actually is. Now, this is the part where, we're going into rumors, this is allegations, we don't know if any of this is true, but the more you get into this, the more insane it sounds. Because apparently, according to the rumors, not only did Verbalase spend $50,000, yeah, $50,000 to have that music video come to life, but allegedly, it made him bankrupt. And that's why you probably have seen the meme right now of people saying, brother went bankrupt for this? That's the whole thing. Now, I don't know if there is an actual confirmation that apparently now his entire YouTube channel has gone completely bankrupt because of that thirsty music video, but apparently that could be the case. But hold on, apparently it gets much worse than that. Because there's another rumor that apparently it is floating around, and I'll just read this part here from my source on sportskita.com, as it states, Reddit user Paisley Pancake also stated that the video was created in collaboration with a 15-year-old, but no official sources have confirmed the same. For real, apparently a 15-year-old was involved in making a video about a very horny Charlie Morningstar. So already, the more you see into it, the more it's just absolutely crazy. And apparently some people are even mentioning that apparently Verbalase might be 40 years old also. I don't know. I don't have a confirmation. I don't know the official age of Verbalase. But also, there is another allegation, on top of that controversy, there's an additional controversy, that got involved with Verbalase, and this one, admittedly, is a little bit more serious. It's not necessarily as funny, where apparently there have been some Discord discussions that have been revealed where Verbalase apparently is a massive bigot. Apparently he is this anti-woke incel that has the mentality of go woke, go broke. And there have been some tweets that have been shared of some of the posts that he would use, that he would go and do on Discord. And there have even been some rants that he would do that have been said to be both very homophobic and transphobic as well. And on my source, they did provide some examples. I'm not going to go and read them all to you because honestly, it's the same typical queer-phobic conspiracies that have been passed around in order to promote bigotry. But some of the things that he would go and say includes, when I went to Disneyland in 2018, there was no preaching about gender and gay stuff. Nothing. It was literally a family-friendly place. So that comment right there is already a yikes. And then there's this old chestnut right over here. In this case, it states, that's because even though they say they identify as female, they're still 100% male. So their DNA and body structure are going to be different than a female. So if you have a bulked up male competing in women's Olympics just because he says he identifies as a female, how is that fair to biological women? Despite the fact that there have been so much evidence that have already proven that false, you can already tell, like, the dude is a massive bigot right there. So, yeah, you got that controversy going on, and on top of the whole thing with his infamous music video. So, yeah, honestly, like, where the fridge do I begin with this? Because there's just so much to go and unpack. Now, okay, I just want to go and make something very clear. I know that there are a lot of things in this that these are just allegations, especially like with the fact that he paid $50,000, the fact that his whole channel is now bankrupt, and that he collaborated with a 15-year-old. For now, these are just considered rumors, and there is no confirmation to this. However, it is worth noting, though, that apparently SaberSpark actually recently announced that he will be doing a video based on this controversy, and he actually got some inside sources that will go and confirm any of these cases if he actually did go bankrupt, if he did work with a 15-year-old, or anything like that. So hopefully that video is going to go and answer some questions. So I'll wish Saber the best of luck on that scenario. But I'm just going to go and state right now, if there is something that Verbalase should go and immediately address, it's those bigoted comments. Like, is he an actual anti-woke incel, especially with the mentality of go woke, go broke, and especially if he has the mindset of being homophobic and transphobic and all that kind of stuff. I think that's something that he should go and immediately address, and hopefully he could go and legitimately deny, because if not, this is going to be something that will just become worse and worse, and it will be poisoning his reputation. And the longer he leaves it to linger, the worse it's going to be, to the point that he will inevitably be canceled. And on top of that, it's something that he should address, because you never know if there's going to be more forms of bigotry that will be exposed about Verbalase. And this is honestly something that I feel like should be discussed more, because when it comes to people who have a prejudiced mindset towards specific groups, you know that they have prejudiced mindsets towards other groups as well. It's never just one thing. There is no such thing as someone who is just homophobic and who is just transphobic, and that's it. Usually, they come with a big package. And in the case of Verbalase, you never know if there could be a possibility that maybe he's also anti-Semitic and that he has a prejudice against Jews. Or maybe that he also is very xenophobic, or that he is racist towards other people, like with Asian people, despite the fact that he is black. But you do get what I mean, right? Like, if he is a bigot on one thing, he's most likely a bigot on other stuff. And I feel like the sooner he could go and actually respond to that factor, the better it will be for him, because those questions need to be answered before things get worse, and that his reputation, especially as a person, will be tainted. Because yes, this will actually be something that could not, it won't just hurt his reputation, but it will also hurt his YouTube channel as well. Like, if it's not that video that will make him if it's not that video that will make him go bankrupt, then it will certainly be his prejudiced mindset. That whole aspect, like, he'll learn the hard way that go woke, go broke is actually not true. It's actually more applied to the opposite. But anyways, going back to the actual video itself, like when you do actually talk about that infamous hideaway video, like even if you do look past any of the things that are considered legitimate allegations, like even if they're proven to not be true, like the 15-year-old collaborating on this, the $50,000 that was spent, or that his whole channel completely went bankrupt, the truth of the matter with this, the fact alone that he even made this video with that plot line, it really is a case of like, what the fridge were you freaking thinking? Why would you even go and do that? Because a lot of people are gonna go and interpret this as nothing more but a fantasy video that you just made. Like you literally asked someone to make a self-insert where you would go and get sexually assaulted by Charlie. That you somehow, like, people are gonna read this as if you somehow have this fantasy where you have non-consensual sex with Charlie Morningstar, and that people will be judging you as an absolute weirdo for that. Now, in that regard, I just want to state that I do not condone kink shaming. Just on the fact alone that he would have this fantasy, like, that, okay, that's perfectly fine. Honestly, you do you. As long as you're not using it in a way to harm people, or that you're promoting non-consensual sex or stuff like that, like, like, keep it, as long as you keep it to yourself, that is perfectly fine, okay? Like, whatever sexual fantasies you may have, that's just for you and you alone, and that's perfectly okay to have, because many other people, like, they would have their own sexual fantasies, and, maybe they don't want that to have it be public. But the thing that is worth condemning, however, is the fact that you would go and literally ask someone and commission them, pay thousands of dollars. Now, I don't know if it's literally $50,000 or anything like that, but I'm sure that with that kind of video that you've literally paid literally thousands of dollars, that you would go out of your way to ask someone to literally make an animated music video where you would have non-consensual sex with Charlie Morningstar, and try to pass that off unironically as a music video on your YouTube channel in the hopes that maybe you could go and turn a profit on that. That is the thing that truly makes it insane. And even if it's not an actual fantasy that Verbalase may actually have, still though, what made you think that this plotline is even a good idea in the first place? If you want to go and make some kind of fan music video in relation to Hazbin Hotel and you want to feature Charlie, sure, that is fine. But why the fridge would you have this kind of narrative where you would turn her into this demented Pepe Le Pew? Why would you, like, why? And especially with the fact that technically with Verbalase, his channel is relatively family friendly. Like, he wouldn't go out of his way in order to go and include a bunch of mature content that would include like drugs or heavy violence or sex or anything like that. So even in terms by his channel standards, like, this is a massive total whiplash where suddenly now you're introducing a scenario where you yourself are about to get laid by Charlie Morningstar. Like, I understand the argument. Some people might say that, well, technically, Hazbin Hotel is a mature series. It is technically considered an adult animated series, so, of course, adult subject matter would be introduced to this. But still, though, like, your fans might not necessarily know. Like, they may not watch Hazbin Hotel or understand what that is. But, like, still, like, by your own standards, this is a massive tonal whiplash. It's just absolutely ridiculous that you would even think of this kind of idea in the first place. So overall, I feel like, yes, there are still a whole bunch of questions that need to be answered. And we still don't know 100% about the facts regarding if he is actually bankrupt because of this. If he did spend $50,000, if he did collaborate with a minor on working on this actual video, and even in terms of his Discord posts, that he would make some extremely bigoted remarks. Like, yes, it is, like, there are a lot of things that do need to be answered, but still, on the fact alone that he would go out of his way to actually make this video, it's just, it's ridiculous. The fact that he would go as far and say, like, he would do something like this and be like, yeah, sure, this is a great idea. Like, let's go and actually commission someone thousands of dollars to go and actually do that. Like, I think the dude really crossed the line somewhere that he really shouldn't. And that this is going to be a true stain to his reputation. And I'm not going to lie, I've never actually heard about Verbalase before, but now seeing this come to life, like, yeah, that's sadly going to be something that a lot of people on the internet are going to be associating him with. This is the guy who made that really thirsty Charlie from Hazbin Hotel video. Oh boy, I mean, like, and a lot of people are even mentioning that technically, Charlie is canonically a bisexual, but technically she is already in a relationship with Vaggie. And like, if you're gonna try to make sense canonically about how that music video connects with Hazbin Hotel, like, what the fridge are you gonna think about? Like, what are you gonna try to say? Like, oh, you know, this is the moment where Charlie decided to say, hold on, Vaggie, I suddenly just got a massive craving for chocolate. Oh, this is just so messed up, man. And you know what? I think it's time I go and pass this on to the chat wall. And now I want to ask you all, what do you think about the entire Verbalase controversy? I would love to know your thoughts on the entire situation. If, you know, I want to know your input. I've already put enough of my thoughts onto this. Now it's time for yours. Okay, let's see. After watching the stream from Saberspark regarding the situation, I'm disgusted and shocked of what Verbalase is doing. I didn't really know much, but man, the allegations and video, I need some eye bleach to clear my mind from what's going on. I will hold my tongue until I hear the word from Verbalase to say if the allegations are true, but thank you to Robbie Rotten for pulling this down. F for Stefan Carl. Also, Saber's video is already uploaded. Oh, fudge, really? Wow, that's already quick. So maybe by the time you're watching this, the answers are already on right now. Alrighty then. Anyways, if the story is true and he actually did commission this in 2021, this AMV existed for 2 years and nobody batted an eye until recently. What I take out of this whole curse situation is that, yes, the video is really cursed, but why the hell is the production quality actually good? The animation is good for 50K, and while he gained debt, he also gained a banger song with Hideaway. So yeah, the lesson is that if you have 50K in your bank, spend it wisely. Really, this has been going on for 15 years and nobody knew anything about it? Nobody said anything about it? Holy crap, this is, yeah, like, again, this is a scenario where the more you discover about this, the more ridiculous it truly is. Let's see now. I think I might have first heard of Verbalase from Rebel Taxi's Celebrity Deathmatch review, while he mentioned about the shows similar to CDM. But little did I know that we would end up talking about this. I personally didn't see anything Verbalase related since I'm busy with life, but holy yikes, this is just both creepy and gross. I do hope this is not the case, but hearing these allegations made me believe that this is happening, and I hate anti-woke folks very much. They're nothing but douchebags. Exactly. Like, it's just a whole bunch of Jew-hating douchebags, and again, hopefully Verbalase can go and actually address some of this before maybe his, like, if that were the case that he has those views on the LGBTQ plus community. Whew, I don't want to know what he thinks about Jews. Let's see now. As a fan of Vivzy Pop's video and Hell of a Boss, this is massively embarrassing and in a way exposes a dark secret about many fan bases. There are some real perverts out there who are too open about it to the point that they've give the rest to the fan base a terrible name. I mean, look at what happened to the brony community and the furry fan base and how they are perceived by the general public. Oh boy, yeah. I mean, like, again, I do not support kink shaming whatsoever. And I mean, yeah, I know that there is a bit of a horny side with stuff like Hell of a Boss and Hazbin Hotel. And I mean, like, if you enjoy that, that's perfectly fine. But don't go out of your way to go and try to make this a public thing, or especially try to make it an official thing, especially if you want to go and commission, like, allegedly $50,000 to make some horny video where you would get non-consensual sex with Charlie Morningstar. Like, that might be taking it a little bit too far. I don't know about you. Anyways, I think I'll read a couple of more comments. Let's see now. I'll be honest, I have never heard of Verbalase as a YouTuber before this, but this is just crazy. The fact that he made this video and might have gone completely bankrupt and collabed with a 15-year-old is just insane. Seriously, this is just disturbing, and on top of this bigoted comments, it just makes me hate him so much. Oh, it just makes him so much worse, sorry. And I think his reputation might be over. We'll see. Until we actually get a response from Verbalase, we'll see how things go. But I think it's safe to say that his 2024 is starting off with a nightmare. Anyways, remember that face Patrick made in the SpongeBob movie? Yeah, you know the one. Yeah, the greatest SpongeBob meme ever. Anyways, that was my face when I heard this story. Well, that was far from the craziest or sickest thing I've seen on YouTube, since apparently they have a history of letting people sneak gore onto the platform, but the bigoted stuff is just as bad, if not worse. Maybe the dude did go bankrupt, morally bankrupt, but overall, I think we got one person to thank here. Thank Robbie Rotten. Yes, the MVP of this episode, Robbie Rotten. Yes, I mean, to be fair, it's freaking Robbie Rotten. He is, after all, #1. So, hey, shout out to freaking Robbie Rotten over here, and rest in peace, the actor, man. True legend right over there. Hey, not all bad guys are bad guys, after all. Anyways, you know what? I'll just go with one more comment over here. So, honestly, I feel weird about this whole video. I get Charlie is attractive and understand the fantasy, but don't go bankrupt for it, and don't involve teenagers in making it. Well, at least some of those parts are allegations. Just want to repeat that. Like, if you're going to make the music video, if you're going to make this music video plotline, do it on another channel, site, or even OnlyFans. Don't shift away from your channel content unless you make it clear as Bloody Day. However, if he's an anti-woke incel, he can get off. Props to the animators for making it. I hope they are well paid. Exactly, yeah, I mean, the animation for what we've seen is actually very nice, and I do get it. Charlie is a really cute character, and I understand why people would have a crush on her. But still, though, maybe don't go as far as to, like, display your fantasy as a music video. It's just not a great idea. Alright, so with that said, we are going to go on to our grand finale right after this break, and when we do come back, we will be having another discussion about YouTubers, but not in terms of a drama, but rather in terms of this new thing that many of them are doing, and that is, well, retiring. So we're going to go and have a discussion about that right after this. And now, everyone, it is now time we will cap this off with the grand finale. Yes, I am using that drum roll once again on this. Very rare that I get to go and use it twice. But yes, what we will be talking about is, once again, ooh, excuse me. Once again, I will be getting into the subject of YouTubers, but we're not going to be looking into drama or anything like that. This is actually a subject that is much bigger, and chances are you probably have already seen a YouTube video or two of people already discussing about what has been going on with several prominent YouTubers and what they have recently done at the start of 2024 or even a little bit beforehand. And as a YouTuber myself who has been doing it for over 14 years, I feel like I want to go and have my piece onto this discussion because, yeah, I think it really does reflect upon a big issue with what's currently happening with YouTube, and that, in a way, I guess we are kind of entering into a new era for YouTube in general, and especially with some YouTubers. And with that said, let's go and discuss about retirement. Yes, the biggest thing that has recently occurred is that several big name YouTubers has announced that they will no longer be making YouTube videos, or at the very least, that they are taking a massive step back where they would either post videos a lot less frequently, or that they're taking a long pause so that they could focus on something else. Now, the biggest one, of course, is none other than MatPat from Game Theory, who recently has announced that he is going to be retiring from making any more YouTube videos. And that the reason why that he wanted to do so is because he wants to spend time a lot more with his family, with his wife, and with his kid. And that when it comes to his YouTube channels like Game Theory, Film Theory, Food Theory, and all that kind of stuff, he's going to go and pass the torch onto a brand new host where they will be in charge of not just hosting, but also be the showrunner of all the theory videos. But MatPat is not the only one. Both a little bit before and especially after his video, there have been other prominent YouTubers with millions of subscribers in which they have announced their retirement or that they have announced their big pause from uploading any videos in general. Now, on my source here, Junkie, they did put out a big list of the YouTubers who made their announcements of that they would stop making videos or that they would take a big pause from making videos. These include Tom Scott, who has announced that he's no longer going to be making any more of his educational videos. There's also Joel Haver, who he says that he is done putting up weekly short films. There is animator MeatCanyon, who says that he's no longer going to be making any more of his creepy cartoons in favor of working on his passion project. Or at least he's taking a big pause from it. And then there's also CaptainSparklez and Stampy Longhead, who said that they are no longer going to be making any more of their big Minecraft channels. So I do understand that it does feel like this massively overwhelming situation where you see a bunch of these prominent YouTubers announcing their retirement or that they announce that they're no longer going to be posting any more YouTube videos, that their regular YouTube grind, that they decided that they're going to be completely done with that. And I understand that this is a massive shock, and I understand why many people are upset about the news, especially when it comes to MatPat, who is one of the most prominent YouTubers on the platform, in which he announced that he would no longer be involved with Game Theory, that he officially retired, and that he wants to be a family man. And from there, with MatPat and all those other people, like, yeah, it is a bit of a shock, and that, you know, like, beforehand, it was kind of like this unheard of concept about YouTubers that they would go and retire, or that they would make an announcement that they would stop making videos in general. I know that this has happened before, but as a general concept, like, it's almost unheard of, especially of this magnitude, where you would see so many almost simultaneously announce that they're done making videos. But this is a thing to go and really highlight that technically, even though it's been nearly 20 years since YouTube's existence, we do have to keep in mind that YouTube is still considered new media. YouTube as a career, or just being this social media influencer who would make videos, or as a content creator per se, this is still a new career. That, like, we're still trying to figure out what that technically means, what it means to be a content creator, what it means to make YouTube videos for a living. There are still things that we want to try to go and understand. And one thing that many people don't actually do understand is in regards to retirement, or when does it actually end? Like, when is there a point where a YouTuber would say that they're done making videos or that it is actually over? Because inevitably there is going to be a certain point where they would actually go and stop. Now, beforehand, we know that usually when you would hear about people who would stop making videos in general, like, often it would be either because, well, they're no longer alive, or it would be because they got massively canceled. You know, people such as what we've seen recently with Gerard the Completionist, or Illuminati, or maybe what we have just talked about with Verbalase. But in this case here, the concept of a YouTuber who said that they're no longer going to be making videos anymore because they've retired, that's an unheard of concept. That's still, like, relatively new. And I know that technically it has happened before. Like, I think PewDiePie has made that kind of announcement a few years ago, back when he was still one of, if not the biggest YouTuber during that era. But still, like, you know, it's a new thing that we're still trying to comprehend, that we are still trying to process if that is actually a legitimate thing. And yeah, and someone even brought up another example, like Lindsay Ellis is another example. I mean, well, technically, with Lindsay Ellis, like, she did recently make a comeback with a new video, maybe not on YouTube, but officially on Nebula, where she made a whole documentary about the marriage of John Lennon and Yoko Ono, but she technically kind of went through that as well. So, you know, like, we're still trying to comprehend what that means for a YouTuber to officially go and retire. And I just want to put my opinion that, as someone, again, who has been working on YouTube videos for more than 14 years now, I completely understand, because even though the reasons may be different to why MatPat and MeatCanyon and CaptainSparklez decided that they would stop making the regular content that they would do, they all share a similar reason to why they want to go and step back. And that is because they have become tired of the grind. And let me tell you, that grind is real. And like, even though being a YouTuber is great, and honestly, it's a fun and exciting career, like, it can also be extremely exhausting. And I think that is the biggest obstacle. It's just the grind of trying to keep up that momentum of keeping your channel alive and making content that would generate a whole bunch of views and revenue again and again and again at a frequent pace. And often that can be so tiring. And there can be times when, like, it can really push you to the limit. And I know this because for a couple of months recently, I actually did go through that grind, and it was pushed to the max, where honestly, like, it did get to me. Like, you probably have seen throughout the month of November and December, boy, did I push my content to the max, considering that there have been so many new releases put out all around the same time, with stuff like Trolls Band Together, Wish, Leo, Under the Boardwalk, Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget, The Boy and the Heron, Diary of a Wimpy Kid Christmas, and what else am I missing? Fudge, there was one other one that I think I've forgotten. I'll remember later, but Migration, thank you, yeah, and Migration as well, like, all happening at the same time. Like, I had to, like, push to the max in terms of the grind that I have to do in order to go into review after review. And it got so extreme to the point where, like, there have been some weeks where I would put out not just one, but 2 reviews at the, like one day after another. And I had to keep pushing myself, and it just became so exhausting. Like, and I couldn't even have time to like just relax or anything like that. Like, once I'm done with one review, then I immediately have to go and jump straight right into another. And not to mention that there are also other types of videos that I would have to go and work on. And meanwhile, there's also the holidays that I have to go and organize. Like, the grind got so extreme that my body was having an extremely difficult time to go and try to catch up to it. Where there was actually a moment, like in between all of that, I did suffer a massive burnout. And my God, it left me massively exhausted and completely unmotivated. Like, it was not funny whatsoever. And even at that time, I even caught COVID. And just to let you know, also, I'm not saying that this grind will make you catch COVID, but the fact that it happened right at the same time as all this, it really did not help. So honestly, it was a situation that really left me exhausted. It's just too insane that I barely had a time where I could just enjoy life or enjoy what I am currently working on. It really is just jumping from one project right after another. And that is why you probably have seen last week, I gave myself a late Christmas gift. And honestly, one of the best things that I could do for myself is just not upload a video on that week. Like, I decided, okay, you know what? After that whole grind with that big finale being the top 5 best and worst animated films of 2023, I decided for the week after, I would just not upload anything. Not even like a vlog or some kind of animation facts compilation, just nothing. And it felt amazing. I was able to put myself back in place. I was able to put my focus back on just advancing on my videos. And especially, the best thing from all that is that I was able to disconnect from the grind. That's what I was the most relieved for with this entire situation, is that this allowed me to no longer worry about that whole grind that I went through for literally months. Oh my God. Like, so honestly, all this is to go and say that, yes, I do get what MatPat and MeatCanyon and Tom Scott, what they're all going through with this, because honestly, the grind can be extremely exhausting, and honestly, it can be quite a killer. And keep in mind, and also, there's another thing that I do want to mention about this entire situation. I remember recently, I actually had a discussion with a friend of mine regarding all these YouTubers who have announced their retirement, and he actually brought up something that is actually true that really does highlight a serious problem with this grind that YouTubers go through. And that is the fact that the reason why these YouTubers are retiring is because they're able to afford it. Like, you may have noticed that a lot of them are the big name YouTubers that have over millions of subscribers. Like I said, like with MatPat or CaptainSparklez or MeatCanyon or Tom Scott. Like, they're able to retire because they're able to afford to do it, because they've established a massively successful career with their YouTube channel. They're in a very healthy financial position, and that they can keep that revenue going with their backlog alone, where that they no longer have to go and keep making YouTube videos in order to continuously make money. They don't have to go and make this as an actual living. They can actually say that now they can go and legitimately retire and they can enjoy life, or they can move on to something else that they are more passionate about. And that is a serious issue, because for smaller YouTubers, like, that is a big problem, because they're the ones who have to suffer the grind the most. Because on top of that, with many of these other YouTubers, they're able to afford a crew, that they can actually have several people to keep working on their videos. That, you know, I'll even just say, like, people like MatPat and CaptainSparklez and Tom Scott, like, they're not the ones who would make their entire videos alone. Like, they actually do have people like editors, researchers, and all that kind of stuff. Like, they actually do have employees that they could go and actually hire to help continue the business to continuously grow at a more rapid rate. And that is one thing I just want to say that I feel massively envious towards those bigger reviewers, even compared to like the bigger cartoon reviewers like Spark and Shafrillas and Alpha J and all those guys. The fact that they do have editors, that they don't have to do 100% of the work that they actually do. Meanwhile, with me, it is extremely rare that I would have anyone else that I can collaborate with on making those videos, whether it be to help out with the writing or with anything else. Like, for the most part, the grand majority of the time, it's me doing everything with the writing, with the voiceover, with the editing. Like, I'm really just a one-man band, and that is because I'm not in a financial position or in a popular position with my YouTube channel where I'm able to actually hire an editor to go and actually do that part of the work for me. I mean, I would love to, but, you know, I want to make sure that, like, I could be in a financially comfortable position where I can actually go and pay them a fair wage for the work that they could actually do. I hope that I could reach that one day in the future, but yeah, it really does highlight a massive problem with the grind, that the ones who are suffering the most, it's not the big YouTubers, it's actually some of the smaller scale ones whom they mostly have to make their videos by themselves, that they got to keep going onto the grind in the hopes that maybe they will achieve 1 million subscribers or something like that. In fact, I'm just going to go and say this right now, like, currently, there's a higher chance that people like Spark or Shafrillas will quit making YouTube videos before I will, because they are in a much more comfortable financial position where they can actually do so, where they can move on from making YouTube videos and still be, you know, and they will still have a comfortable financial wealth where they do have enough money where they can afford moving on from actually making videos. Now, I'm not saying that they will, I'm just saying, like, in a hypothetical scenario, especially with where I am right now. But overall, though, I will say that this really does highlight one important thing, like, outside of, like, the problem with the YouTube grind and stuff like that. It's that no YouTuber is going to be making these videos forever. I know that for some people, it does seem like it, because I know, like, there are some, like, Smosh or the Angry Video Game Nerd or the Nostalgia Critic, like, they're still going at it. Like, they've been doing it for nearly 20 years at this point, but there will come a time that with every single one of these people, that they're going to say that they are done with making videos in general and that they will move on. And I'm going to be real with you all. There have been times that I have thought about that maybe there will be one day I'm going to hang up the orange fedora and say, yeah, I think I'm done. I'm finished with reviewing, or I'm also finished with animation look back and stuff like that. And there will come a time where it will do so, and mainly because, well, that's life. Because over time, we will change. I mean, look at yourselves even. Like, I can guarantee you that everyone, including myself, including you watching and or listening to this, that over time, in 10 years from now, we're going to be completely different people. Our lives will not be the same as it is right now. And what we have to do with those changes, we need to go and adapt to it. And sometimes we have to go and make sacrifices. And yeah, I think there will be a possibility that there will be changes in my own life, for better or for worse, in which it will put me in a position where I'm going to have to make sacrifices onto my YouTube channel, or I might have to say, I'm done making YouTube videos. Like, there will come a point, and I am hoping that in my future that things will get better for me, that hopefully maybe my channel will, like, exponentially grow, or that there is also or that maybe, like, on my acting side, like, maybe I'll catch a very lucky break or something like that. You know, I'm still working on trying to make that dream a reality, but I know that there will come a point, and there will come a point for every other YouTuber out there in which they will have to say goodbye, that they will have to make that sacrifice. It will be very tough, not just for the creators, but also for the fans, that this will occur. And that is why the best thing that we can do at this point is just wish them the best. To wish like, what you can do is for all your favorite YouTubers to actually have that kind of happy ending. Something similar to MatPat, where the reason why they want to go and finish is because he wants to move on to something greater in his life, you know, to like, so that he can move on to actually be happy, you know, and that's the big thing. And I feel like with all of these YouTubers who decided that they no longer want to make their regular videos, it's very justifiable. Rather it be moving on to a bigger passion project or just live your, you know, to live your life with your family. It's honestly understandable. And like, that's you know, and like I said, it's exactly what you want to wish for them in the end, that they have, you know, that they have literally a happily ever after, that after they make their videos, that they moved on to something that it still brings them joy as much as when they were first making videos. So honestly, that is my entire piece on this story. So again, as some, like, I'm a YouTube veteran technically, and I've been doing this for like 14 years. And I mean, and I'm just saying right now, I have no plans to like retire myself, but I think this is something that really does need to be discussed in terms of like the future of YouTube and just what's been going on right now. So honestly, I wish MatPat, Tom Scott, MeatCanyon, and all these people the best of luck in their future, and that hopefully with all of us YouTubers, that we all have a happy ending at the end when we decide that we're done with this. All right, so with that said and done, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, what do you think about this entire situation? And I'm sure that you're probably fans of either MatPat or CaptainSparklez or Tom Scott. I would love to know your thoughts on all this. Let's see what we got. It's always sad to hear about a YouTuber retiring from their work, but it's understandable. I remember my first YouTuber retirement, Kaylee Ellis, true crime YouTuber who retired in 2019 and deleted her channel later that year. Then Twisted Transitions in 2022 was retired as well. MatPat retiring is sad for both me and my sister as we watched him. I respect that that's his decision. MatPat is Cars 3 Lightning McQueen. He decided when he's done. I understand one day you will do so as well. Yeah, and I mean, this is the best case scenario for MatPat. Like, honestly, I don't have to wish him all the best because so far he's got the best. Like, he had an amazing YouTube channel, an amazing YouTube career, and now he's going to spend his life with an amazing family. So honestly, do I need to wish him the best when he already has that? Let's see now. I've already read that. Hold on. To MatPat, I wish his retirement the best, and I'm glad he's spending time with his family. But yeah, this YouTube generation that we all know is officially ending. What will happen next in the new YouTube generation? Honestly, we don't know right now. Personally, for me and my YouTube channel, I might not gotta stop until the end of time because I do enjoy making videos about my interests. I do think YouTube in general will definitely not be the same. Yeah, I think that's going to be a completely different subject worth talking about later. So, honestly, we'll wait and see with how things are going with YouTube. But hopefully, all I'm asking for is that hopefully the future of YouTube is me going up. But anyways, while I am not a YouTuber, I see where you are going, Matt. Just like Woody leaving in Toy Story 4 and McQueen retiring in Cars 3, there will be a time we have to move on. Personal question, how do you find time to work on reviews, animation look back, and voice acting jobs, as well as your personal life? It's not easy, honestly. It's a massive, it's a very complicated balance that it's honestly pretty hard to try to comprehend how to do so. I mean, hey, as long as it's working for me, I guess it's working for me. I wish I could answer that question for you, but I'll try to get back to you on that because I'm still trying to understand that myself. But anyways, Honestly, I completely understand why these YouTubers would want to do this. When you would do this kind of job for years and you feel tired at a time and time to retire from YouTube is understandable. And some of these YouTubers managed to end on a high note, like MatPat making a cameo in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie recently. Yeah, I'm just going to say that I actually did watch the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and oh boy, I mean, nothing against MatPat, of course, but that cameo, oh my god, I'm sorry, this might be a hot take, but that was one of the worst cameos. Not necessarily because it's MatPat, but just the way it was handled. It's just, oh my god, man, it's just, I understand fan service, but that thing is just, oof, man. Oh, jeez. But anyways, what else do we have here? Okay, I'll go with this one. It's gonna be really sad to see. MatPat leaving YouTube. But I will say he deserved a break from making more videos. Same with you, Matt. With all the hard work you put into the last few months, can be very stressful. And I would love to say that you definitely deserve a break from making another video for last week. And I'm glad it's a blessing that you did so. As for MatPat, thanks so much for entertaining us with theory videos more than 10 years. Good luck being a family man. All right. What else do we have? I understand what smaller YouTube creators are going through right now in going through the grind and financial situation. I wanted to plan on expanding myself as a social media influencer or even becoming a YouTuber myself, but going through this type of situation made me having mentally prepared for what I had to go through. I don't follow these guys, but I wish them luck on their retirement and have a better life. All right, I think I'll read one more comment. Let's see what we got here. Okay, well, I know like some people are probably, yeah, I know like FNAF fans and game theory fans are happy about that. And if you're happy about it, good on you. But well, like, I don't know, like maybe I'm not the only one who think that. Let's see. I'll just go and use, okay, I'll go with this one. Well, I could say for some people who are fans of their work is a sober ending for them. Even if I have never seen their content, I do with the best for them, and congratulations on their new lives and beginning family lives. And I know eventually we all have to say goodbye at some point, so good luck to them. Minor question, is Joey Tedesco still going on or is he fully retired? Well, I mean, he did do a tiny comeback from what I recall. Like, he did post some videos, like he did like the ABCs of reviewing, but I don't know. I would personally have to get back on Joey on that one, like just to ask just in case, because I know he does have his personal life, but who knows? I don't know. Maybe I'll ask him. But I mean, like, if he does come back, hey, that's awesome. If not, well, I mean, hey, Joey is a great buddy of mine, and I wish him all the best. And with that said, that should do it for this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And thank you all for joining me on this wild adventure. And oh boy, what a crazy episode this was. And hopefully this will set the standards of what will be to come in AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast for the rest of 2024. So with that said, I would like to say if you really did enjoy this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, then don't forget to go and follow me on both, or to subscribe on the AniMat Live Twitch channel or the AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast YouTube channel. On top of that, don't forget that there is also, don't forget to go and follow me on whatever podcast service you're listening on, rather it be on Spotify, Google, Amazon, or iTunes. And with all that said and done, I'd like to say thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, see you later, dudes.